Well, I come from this region in Norway called Trøndelag, and by the coast. And if you look west, you will see Iceland and Greenland. It's the most southwest part of Sápmi, and perhaps the most invisible part of Sápmi. And I have been looking into my history, our history, and how our history has been erased. I have also, as an artist, I have been living in South Central Africa, and for many years I was interested in and working with the relationship between Europe and Africa and the decolonialization process. And I returned to Norway 10 years ago, and I realized that the tools I had was also helping me to understand more of our history. In Skövde Konstmuseet, I'm showing 2 films. One film is a 5-year-old. It's a project that lasted for 5 years. It's called Dalvet, and the word means something that has been gone for a long time, but which is reappearing. And it's sort of sums up the whole process of that's maybe not the process of the invisibilization of Sápmi, and especially in the southern part. And it's a work that is has come into being by working with local historians, local cultural keepers, and historians, archaeologists, linguists. And it's a way of combining different sorts of knowledge. This combination of knowledges is maybe helping us to see a different kind of reality, because from the region where I come from, we have had. There was a historian in the 1800s who came up with this theory that the Sami people did not belong, that they came from the north, just during the 1700s. So it was a political act, and to wipe out the presence. And this theory that was deliberately put into the public as a political act against Sápmi has been making its presence into maybe the latest publication in 2005 was a history work about our region, and as always, Sápmi is like a small part which is put at the end, and has nothing to do with anything else. And I think that the only way we can work with this history is by combining all these different narratives and perspectives. I have also been working with the landscape and the history in terms of language. And the South Sami language is an endangered language. They say that there's only 500 people who are fluently speakers, and then there are some more people who sort of can read, and I'm trying to learn as well. And I'm very interested in the South Sami language because it, for many reasons, but the philosophy, the history, the way of relating to landscape, to other beings, and how it also, through the language, we can sort of make the landscape reappear. So there is one piece, a drawing in the exhibition, which is looking into how even history can be found inside the language. It looked into some words, which is in the South Sami language. It's one of the words is volverimje, which means vision in dream. And this word, and there's also this verb, volveret, which means to have a vision in dream. And this word doesn't exist in the Norwegian language, but it is connected to the Norse mythology. So somehow you may see maybe the way we perceive history and the stories about past and the Norse perhaps isn't as linear and as straight as we think, or what we have learned in school. I also been looking into place names in my region, and especially by the sea. We have this very strange place name which appears so many places. And it's this word Oksbåsen, which sounds perhaps like a Norwegian word. But in Norwegian it means the ox stall. It's like a place for the ox. And there is no specific mythology about oxes in the region. This place name has been trying to be explained that maybe it has something to do with difficult currents in the sea next to it or something. But I've been traveling to these places, and they all seem to have something in common, which is that the rocks are coming out, are falling out, like avalanche places, rock avalanches, and openings into the mountain. And in the South Sami language, okse means door, and washo is like a sacred place inside the kuatje, the house, which is a microcosmos of the real world outside. And bisje and basse is this word for sacred or holy. And in the ancient or pre-Christian times, the sacred was also connected to that which is also of danger, places you are not supposed to go to. They were like places where you're not supposed to be as a human. It's not for human beings. And I've started this project of looking into those places, and have a series of drawings from there. There's also a film called Chatse, Know How Know, and it's first of a series about our relationship to the physical environment. And Chatse means water in some language. So it's a film which is sort of wave-like in its shape. And it's very local as well, from the Atlantic Ocean to the inner Trondheim fjord. And there's like a mythological being, which is called Gurikunya, which means the spawning lady. And she's sort of the protector of the water or the ocean. So you have to ask her for help, both in fisheries and for survival, for not drowning. And there's also 5 small sculptures, and I look upon them like magical objects, perhaps. They are a combination of different materials, and I don't know if I should say so much more about them. I don't need to. Like I said, I work with a lot of different materials and knowledges, and I combine the intuitive with the more scientific methods. And I work with quite a lot of different materials, like film and objects and drawing and paintings. How to describe my creative process? I work with a lot with the dictionary. I work with the landscape. I travel to places. I speak with people. I draw. I make. And I think it's this combination of different ways that this multi-tasking, that everything is sort of of the same body, but it's has very different expressions. Maybe that's my method. And yeah. I'm interested in mythology, history, language, and cultures all over the world, indigenous cultures all over the world. And I'm inspired by old knowledge. I'm researching, trying to understand and go into the knowledge of the ancestors or the past or the which I don't, I mean, I don't believe in these past, present, future terms. So I think everything is inspiring. I'm too curious. I'm too so yeah. I think everything political that's happening in the world, all these destructional forces we are witnessing, so it's maybe a lot of it. A lot of my work is perhaps inspired by political analytics, fighting sorrow and love.